Hey friends, I'm Liz Hunt,
And I'm Chelsea Poppens.
and this is the Agency Rocket Show, where we discuss everything that has to do with running a creative business. Chelsea loves dance parties. She always tries to get me to do them.
Signature move.
Signature moves. Today, we're going to talk about how to make sure that clients keep coming back, how to get them to keep rehiring you. So, one of the things is that most every design firm has great work, but I think that is not always what is going to keep clients coming back to you, because they can get great design from any freelancer down the street, because freelancers, other agencies, all of the above, they all have great work, right? There's so many out there that have incredible work. But I think what we have learned at our agency over the years that helps clients continue to rehire us and helps them keep coming back is everything that is before, during, and after just the design piece itself.
No, I completely agree. It's the entire process that helps the person buy into it. Just like their whole experience. And like we've had people that have done branding with us and they're just like, it was just like very easy. And you guys are the experts. You've pushed back but welcomed our feedback. And I mean, we've had way more positive feedback than negative feedback in my time at DayCloud, and heavily on the positive side, especially for branding projects.
So one of the things that we have focused on over the years is our customer service, which is not something you hear very many agencies talk about. I don't know what it is. I think, there's account executives and they kind of handle the customer service side of things. But at my agency, we're too small to have account executives. And so I really fulfill that role. Chelsea does that quite a bit as well. And so, but I also fulfill the creative director role. And so there's a lot of us that wear many hats. And so over the years, we as a team, we focus a lot on customer service, and we focus a lot on great communication with our clients. We focus a lot on process for our clients, leading them through the process. And then, of course, we focus a lot on not just doing great work, but presenting the work in a really, really, really great way, showcasing it very well. And so I think if we do those four things, then clients will love you, and they'll love everything from the day they meet you to the end of the project, and they will come back again and again.
No, I completely agree. I love our branding process specifically because it ties in like I was speaking to you prior to this, is like it ties into upselling certain pieces, and like we're showing what their brand could be. And so we're constantly guiding them into them visioning their brand and what it's going to look like at the end of it. And like not just in like the coloring or the logo, it's also like with the words, that the descriptor words that make them feel how their brand's supposed to make others feel, and so that they can see the whole of it in one space, especially in our stylescapes that we present, that between the mild, medium, and spicy. They all have their own, like, I don't know, je ne sais quoi. Like they all have their own stuff, like vibe.
Yeah, I love it. So whenever we talk about great customer service, what is it that you think that we're really talking about? Like to me, I think about, how we manage emails, how we always respond within 24 hours. I know a lot of creatives have a lot of trouble with that. But that's a full on, that's our protocol. That is, we always do that. That is business practice, best business practice for our agency. And I think about even just like how we run our meetings, how we have agendas, how um, the client knows what's happening, what next steps are. And that kind of leads into communication as well. But just having great customer service, great relationships, we even down to like smiling in meetings and being kind people and that kind of stuff. What about you? Whenever you think of like how we serve clients well and just having good customer service, even just in general, what do you think about?
I think we do a great job of relationshiping and humanizing the experience. It's not like they're just like clients to us. They show up if an in-person meeting is preferred, so that they can put a face, not just someone hiding behind a screen. And we joke with people, like you and I, we poke fun at who we think we can poke fun at, and like shoot shit with people. Like we humanize and we have fun with it, and like that's exactly what they're expecting. Like, I mean, we are the designers. Some of the places are very different industries, CPAs, attorneys. It's very cut and dry, very like whatever, and they expect us to be the creatives, be a little quirky, a little eccentric, because we're supposed to do things that they can't do themselves. And it's like, so like showing up, having fun with it, like marketing and branding, that is supposed to be the fun side of things. And I think we just do a really good job of like pulling them into the experience the entire way and like showing them what's next, what we're doing now, and just over communicating those things.
For sure. I love what you said there because, whenever I think about like good customer service, I think about like what retailers come to mind, right? Like one of the things that makes a huge difference for me when it comes to like my online shopping is I think about, is it really easy to return something, and do I get free shipping? And basically those things boil down to, is it as convenient as possible to shop here? Is your website, does it have really good UX UI? And can I return something without any issues? Are you going to give me grief about anything? And do I get free shipping? Like, I don't care if I have to pay a little extra on whatever else, but like if I get free shipping, that's fine, right? Like there's such a convenience to
whether
it,
or not you have to pay an extra $20.
Yes.
Whether or not
seriously,
like, it's $20 more to get free shipping that was only like $7.99.
Yes.
Like, all right.
Perfect. Sign me up. Yes. And
one more thing.
Yes, I think about those things though. And it's like those things boil down to convenience, right? And like, is it easy, convenient? Do I feel a little luxurious when I do it, right? When I utilize these websites, when I go to these websites. And so like, if we can replicate those same ideas and principles for our clients, then that's going to keep them coming back the same way that I return back to those online retailers or whatever. And so like when I think about things that are convenient for clients, it's everything from, having Zoom meetings or going to their office for meetings because it's convenient for them, or down to like when we send them an email that's about their website that we're working on. We always send the link to their website with the username and password included, if it's like on a staging site or something. At every step of the process, we are operating from a mentality of great service and convenience for the client. How are we anticipating their needs at every point of the process? And some of that also is like, there are things that we do where it's like, hey, we don't have to ask the client for this stuff to get us these things. We can do it ourselves. For example, the other day we were building out a website for someone. It's a templated website that we do. We have this platform that we built for this large organization that has dealerships all over the world, actually. And we needed this dealer to send us pictures of some of their buildings, and they were just taking forever to get us any of these photos. And Chelsea, being the customer service minded person that she is, was like, instead of having to make these dealers go out and send us photos, I'm going to go find them and take screenshots from like Google Earth or Google, whatever it is that you did. And that worked great for us to like get something up there in order to present something to the client until they could actually get us photos of the building, And so it's things like that you can really hone in on that great customer service mentality that will just bring you a step above, just like level up your performance in a way that a lot of other people don't even think about. So that's something that we really try to do. And it just shows your clients how much more you care about the relationship and the work that you're doing and the interactions that you have with them.
So at the end of the day, it's our job to make their lives easier, not harder, or at least try to. And to add on to like the Valley conversation is like understanding your audience. I think one of the biggest things like you and I noticed is that when we start like a Valley website for people, they love the visuals of like the phases of the process, not just you telling them like when these phases are going to happen, but just showing them like a flow chart. Right. So we're in this phase. This is what's next. And then like, this is this phase, and then going into detail of what each entails and why. And then just like, most of them will be like, can you send me that? Like, just so they like for reference. And we always have it in the stuff that we send them anyway. But like, just understanding that like blue collar farmers, they just want a clear cut visual. They want to keep it as simple as possible. And they just want to have something on hand to help them feel comfortable with where their money's going, what's next, and how everything is going to look.
Yeah. That's such a good point. So kind of our next piece for like how to get clients to keep hiring you is the great communication, which is exactly what you're talking about, Chelsea. And this is something that you did the other day that I loved so much with one of our website clients. Is at the beginning of the project, you had a flowchart essentially of the process for them that you shared. And you said, okay, we're building you a website. And then here is a visual of box number 1 is we build the sitemap, and then we build the wireframe, and then we have a content meeting, and then we have this meeting, and then, and then you walked them through on a visual map of like exactly what we go through. And to me, that is how you have good communication with your client. First of all, you had a project kickoff meeting, and then you communicated what the process was. And that is like something that really creates a ton of trust between you and the client, because they're like, oh, well, these people know exactly what they're doing. So I can just like, they've got it. They know what they're doing. They are 10 steps ahead. They've done this a million times, obviously, because they know what the 20th step is going to be already. And we're on step number 1. I love that. I love that you did that the other day. I was so thrilled to even see that.
I was going to say that maybe that was a different meeting, but that was like, I think it's okay to show the process more than once, because like sometimes there's different people in each meeting. And I mean, we have so many Valley dealers going on, so I'm like getting mixed up. But like, even if you show at each meeting, you show people like, hey, we're in this phase. Repetition is what makes people remember like where they're at, because everyone's going through their days. They're all busy, especially Valley dealers during the harvest season or like during the farming season. It's their busiest season. They're not going to remember. They're not going to be like, yeah, I completely remember that flow chart you showed me a couple weeks back on top of everything else I have to remember. Like it's repetition.
That's a really good point. Yeah, that's a really good point, because that over communication is key, because like we do this every day, all day long. These clients of ours, they are in our meeting and then they go do their jobs and they go do the rest of what is like keeping them busy, and they have families and they sleep and all these things, and they don't think about what it is that we are doing again until our next meeting, most likely. And so like having to at the start, and this is a good communication tip, is like at the start of every meeting, do a recap or do a quick summary of things. What you're saying is like, okay, this is what we've done, this is what we're doing, and this is where we're going. And that's always like a really good way to keep your communication really great for clients. What about process? This is one that, that we want to talk about and hit on a little bit. And it really goes hand in hand with communication, because communication and process, you have to communicate the process and you can't have a process unless you communicate. And so let's talk about a little bit about our process.
Of what specifically do you have in mind? Is that branding, website?
It could be all of the above, because we have processes for everything that we do.
First thing that comes to mind is that even though we have processes, they're constantly evolving. Because you have new team members come in, and people, like, we constantly have conversations on like what works, what might have some funk, like what might not be working and how we need to fix it. And so our processes internally and through our platforms and how things are handled are like, it goes down to like detail of like how this gets shifted internally to the next person, how it gets flipped to review, how it gets approved, and then who ends up sending the approval. There's the fact that there's so much communication internal that has to take place. But like you said, that one of the difficulties of running an agency is not everybody's good at communicating. And so
No.
Crazy. And so especially
all creatives are good at communicating.
Yeah, I didn't want to target y'all, but like there's honestly there's been some creatives that are like, I have to design and I have to communicate. They're like, as if it's like
we've literally gotten that feedback before from employees.
I have to Slack you guys and communicate you guys.
I'm
like, that's a part of the job.
Yeah,
that's a part of being on a team.
That's called literally being human and just I don't know, having a job.
Or this one's is kind of just funny and fresh on my mind, is because they have to communicate with other people on their team, they think they're managing them. And like, I'm like, that's just being a part of a team. I'm like, that's not management.
That's just called collaboration.
Yeah. I'm like, that's one of the funny ones.
Being on the team.
But as far as externally processes, like we just have our specific, especially branding, website are pretty clear cut as far as like how we communicate those to our clients and the people we work with, and whether that's like our discovery, stylescape, final presentation, brand assets, and then the timeline between those is usually very similar, depending on how fast we get feedback from clients, or when it's a website, how fast we get content from our clients. And that's another factor that we clearly communicate in the beginning. These are estimated timelines. It's very dependent on how fast we get content from you. And if there's a delay, which is completely okay, but that's going to push the timeline back. And when those two internal and external processes have to come together, that's just, that's project management.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point. Like one of the things that we do is, yes, we have our processes, and at the 30,000 foot view, those really don't change. Like we always create a sitemap, we always create a wireframe, we always create content and design and then development for every website that we do, right? But then the tactics for how we accomplish those overarching primary deliverables, that is held fairly loosely, right? Because we know that technologies change, because we know that people change, because we know we change, because we know that the industry is always evolving and always changing, and our people are too. And so that's something that we kind of, to your point, Chelsea, like, you have to be okay with always growing and all those things, but also knowing that like the higher level of things, those almost never change. But then just how you accomplish things, that can change fairly often. So just, yes, we have processes, but you hold them fairly loosely to a degree. And the biggest thing that I think about when I think about processes, having great processes, is that you communicate those to your clients, those high level ones. You don't communicate the detail tactics, right? You communicate the high level ones of your process to the client, including timelines, because again, that tells them that you know what you're doing, you're the expert, they can trust you, you've done this 100 times before, all these things, right? Because it just creates a lot of trust and relational equity for them. And that's one of the reasons that people will come back to you, I think, because they're like, yeah, they always tell me what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And so there's not this like, man behind the curtain type of thing. I think that's a big win when it comes to clients, because they feel like they are involved and in the know about what's actually going on.
I was just going to add a little piece is over communicating, but also knowing when too much information, when you don't need to say information, and you're just going to overwhelm.
Yep.
Yeah. You were like, this is the higher priority thing that we need from them. They don't need to know everything else. But as soon as this piece is accomplished, this is the next thing that I'm communicating on. Because sometimes it can get overwhelming from a client perspective.
That's a good point.
We can wrap up, but this is just a little quick overview of our processes and what makes the client experience fantastic, where you're going to get that 5-star review at the end and keep them coming back. We'll expand on this maybe in another episode, but it's good to have you.
Yeah. Send over your questions.
Thanks for listening, people.
And like and follow and share.
All right. Peace out. A-Town.